there and how small it is. But all these ambulances are equipped with every possibility. It's an ER on wheels is essentially what it is. But we have every piece of equipment to maintain a patient safely to wherever it is we're going for however long it's going to take. So,
but it's just about a comfort thing.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And that's another problem. We've had massive communication lag because none of the
And I know.
Seriously?
It's gonna look good though, trust me.
Oh, well, I'll bet you.
Let me get your name, how you spell it, because I want to make sure I get that right.
Okay, Jeannie Ardwan, G-E-N-I-E-A-R-D-O-I-N.
And you have a friend here, or you had friends here?
I have a very close friend here. She was diagnosed with COVID, came in. She's on a ventilator. Now we don't know where she's at.
That has to be just, I mean, obviously, you've seen how COVID has torn through.
Well, the worst part is her ex-husband passed away the day she came in, so her poor babies lost their daddy, and then as they telling them that they lost their daddy, they told her mom had to come to the hospital, and she's been in here ever since. So it's horrifying, and this just makes it unbelievable horrifying to not even know where she's at and if she made it out or anything.
How does one deal with that in terms of like having a friend who's struggling with a life-threatening, disease like this, and then you don't even know which hospital she's in? It's already for us healthy people, it's the worst conditions you could possibly imagine.
It's no words. I don't even know what to think. I just want to know if she's alive and where she's at right now. Like, we have no clue, no idea where she's at, if she made it out. I can't imagine our vent. I mean, I don't know what the situations were like here when they had to move them, I don't know.
I mean, you saw the storm itself here. It had to be just one of the worst to hit.
Oh, absolutely. Worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't imagine how fast those winds were. Yeah.
What would it take for, I mean, you kind of have an understanding of the business a little bit. What would it take for a hospital like this to be evacuated with these patients? Because this is very serious.
That's what's, I think, really freaking me out, is I have no idea how would they even handle that. Of course, we had no communication to see the news or anything. We just found out today that this hospital was evacuated. So I can't imagine with the number of patients, because they didn't shut down and they didn't transfer them before, I can't imagine what they did to get all these patients out of here safely right before the storm or during the storm.
What's COVID been like here? Because again, different states, different situations. What's it been like here specifically?
It's horrible. I mean, it's hard. You cannot convince people to get vaccinated. They just won't get vaccinated. So it's spreading like wildfire. Children are getting sick in the hospital. I think personally, I know at least 40-something people that have had COVID in the last 3 weeks. The second wave obviously was way worse than the first. And nobody wants to get vaccinated. If they would just get vaccinated, we could save all of this. This is all unnecessary. It's all unnecessary.
I am lucky. I've only known a couple of people who've been infected. I haven't known anybody seriously sick. Brandon shakes his head. He can't believe that I don't know anybody, but he's from here in the South. You said you've known 40 people, and not just people sick. You know people that... Right.
So in the last few weeks, at one point I counted 28 personal friends of mine that had COVID, and then I just stopped counting after that. But now it's losing people. I lost her. We were good friends with her ex-husband. He died. She's now on ventilator. I had an uncle that passed away the first round of COVID. My braids. We've known a lot of people that passed away from COVID, and people still aren't getting vaccinated. I can't figure it out.
Like you said, I mean, the best way to compare what's going on is just like a wildfire going through the community, and then I mean, which it's a disaster upon a disaster.
Right. And then now this, how are we going to deal with COVID in a hurricane with no sanitation for sure? We have no water, you know.
People have been close together in shelter. There's limited places for people to go. You see, describe the destruction of your city and where are people going at this point?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how other people feel. I know for us, I would have loved to have taken people in, but with my special needs kid, we couldn't take anybody who wasn't vaccinated. We couldn't take that chance because the worst thing that could happen right now is somebody getting COVID with nowhere to be taken care of. So I can't imagine places that, if there were shelters here or even family members that had to combine in households, you might have some vaccinated, some not, and then if there's a outbreak of COVID in a family, you know, in a household, what will they do? Yeah.
This is terrifying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You did such a good job. Your compassion.
I'm horrible.
Your compassion comes through.
I don't want to start crying.
UCKJUSTICE.
Chuck, you're a long way from home. You're from Shreveport.
Yeah.
What's the age
Shreveport Fire.
What's this been like?
It's interesting. It's not my first deployment in a hurricane, but this one's particularly bad because it's just, I think the damage, we've been a lot closer to the damage than we have been in the past. Houma's, you know, as you guys have seen, has been just decimated. So, but comms are a problem down here, a lot of radio problems, but we're working with the Ambulance Alliance for the state of Louisiana, and it's also FEMA sponsored. And we're moving patients out of the hospitals down here to any hospital in Texas, Louisiana, or Mississippi that can take them. We're fixing to leave with a patient from here and taking them all the way up to Bossier City. So that's going to be about a 6-hour transport.
And there's no better way to do this at this point, right? They have no options.
Yeah. A lot of the hospitals, you know, as you know, are probably full with COVID patients, and so they're having to squeeze room to get people from down here up there, you know, to keep getting continuing care. So.
And that's been more of a challenge for everything as well because hospitals are full. How you just are literally trying to squeeze patients in wherever you can in this entire region?
Yeah. And what's been a blessing, all the other hospitals outside of the disaster zone of the hurricane have been more than accommodating. So,
but people ask, all right, these hospitals have emergency power, but that's not necessarily the case to really provide the care that's necessary.
Right. Yeah. The way the generators, as I understand it, only power up key essential areas of the hospital, like surgery, you know, the ER obviously, but not having been through this hospital totally, I have to assume the power situation is bad if they're moving people out of here. So,
I mean, you say going in the ER, for instance. I mean, it's just a little.
Yeah, I mean the ER is open, but the AC's not running at full capacity, so it's a little warm in there, you know. And they may be having a supply issue too right now, because last night they were full, and we saw probably over 100 patients getting moved out of here just last night. So.
What's it like transferring or hearing about patients going from a full COVID unit here to a hurricane hit to evacuating them to a parking garage makeshift COVID unit in Jackson, Mississippi?
I knew people were going to Jackson, but I didn't know that was a situation. But all I know is that at this point, our patients are being moved to Mississippi, all throughout Louisiana and parts of Texas.
It's got to be a challenge, though. I mean, you're talking about a 6-hour transport. That's not normal, right? That's not normally what we do, right?
No.
I mean, talk about. Again, I don't know what you guys do, but I assume that that's unusual. And can you explain how it's unusual and what the problems are with that?
It's a comfortable factor for the patient, being a small. You can see the stretcher there and how small it is. But all these ambulances are equipped with every possibility. It's an ER on wheels, is essentially what it is. But we have every piece of equipment to maintain a patient safely to wherever it is we're going, for however long it's going to take. So.
But it's just about a comfort thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and riding in a stretcher, which I've done, just, these roads down here in the South Louisiana are not the best, even under normal conditions. So it's bumpy, but I think that's why the helicopters are flying a lot of the more critical ones that probably wouldn't be able to tolerate a transport like that. So,
Man, Chuck, that was great. I really appreciate it.